Alright guys, welcome back to Middle Class Reactions. This is the second part of the reaction video I'm doing to the Jubilee vegans versus meat eater debate. I haven't watched this question yet, or this topic. The question itself just pisses me off. Vegans are better human beings than meat eaters is the topic. Um, so yeah, this will be live reaction. So yeah, we're gonna see.
Vegans are better human beings than meat eaters.
I think what this comes down to is what we define as a good human being. At the end of the day, I don't see, for instance, trapping animals, killing animals, using animals for our own human gain as a kind, good, and just thing to do. And my definition of veganism is taking a stance that rejects all sorts of exploitation for all animals. And I think that if we as humans can't accept the principle that other animals are not ours to use and exploit, then we aren't just and we aren't good.
I agree. I believe that there can be exceptions, and I think they're extremely rare. Like if somebody was on the brink of death and it was proven to only be because they're eating a vegan diet, or if they're living in indigenous societies where, even if it's part of their culture, I don't fully support that, but if it's a type of land that's not fertile to grow crops or harvest crops, these people could be exceptions. But
This just pisses me off to no end. So let's just take her first two statements there. The first one, you have to be on the brink of death before something non-vegan diet-wise is even considered. So she would be willing to let another human go to the brink of death before she would even consider letting someone eat a non-vegan diet. Her second statement is, if you're an indigenous tribe, I still don't support it, but there can be an exception. So then that shows, okay, she's willing and wanting to push her ideology, and this is why I call veganism an ideology, onto other people, even indigenous tribes. And the fact that she thinks vegans are better humans than meat eaters, this is where the disconnect comes in, and why so many people just can't stand vegans. It's because of people like these two. This one in the back here, this lady, she's actually she's been indicted and is in the middle of a trial for breaking into animal shelters to steal animals out. Think about good or bad what she's doing. But even someone who's willing to break into a facility and steal animals, even she doesn't agree with this. That vegans are better humans than meat eaters. That is a wild thing to believe. And yeah, this is that's cultish to think that.
I think that not taking a stand against oppression is always going to make you a worse person than someone that is.
When I think of being kind to animals, I think of all the animals that are used in various ways today as we're speaking. There's animals that are forced to perform into circuses and are beaten with bullhooks and whips to get them to be submissive and perform. There's animals confined to battery cages drowning in their own feces, so humans are able to consume their rotting dead bodies.
So yeah, that last point's just not true. I mean, that's just not a thing, but okay.
And this in no way shows kindness or compassion if we make the choice to support these types of this type of abuse and exploitation. We all have a choice to be vegan, to make the right choice, and to reject this rampant, horrific, hideous animal abuse that is happening all around us.
I don't think that being a vegan just makes you a good person because you care about animals. I think that a vegan is, you cannot care at all about animals, but you reject oppression. You're not going to go pay for the systemic slaughter of another individual's life for self-benefit, and I think that objectively that makes you a better person than somebody who's going to pay for that when they have a choice not to.
All right, can the disagreeer step forward?
Okay, that's just a wild statement. This dude here is a pretty wild dude saying things that are just not true. Also, he's wearing a PETA shirt I see down here. Let me move my face here. See a PETA shirt right there? So, funny enough, PETA funds the mass slaughtering of animals. Ha! Did you not know? So, this dude's just stuck in the ideology. This chick, one, her voice pisses me off, but Two, I mean, she's just straight up stuck in a cult ideology. To the point where she openly saying like, yeah, you have to get to the brink of death before I am willing to consider you letting eat a non-vegan diet. That is wild. Like, that is insane.
Would?
Also, another thing I'm going to add to that, hunters and outdoorsmen they provide way more money for animal conservation and animal rehabilitation than vegans ever will. Reason being is there was a 15% tax implemented and asked for by hunters back in the 1940s on anything outdoor or hunting related, and that tax it's in its own separate fund and goes directly towards animal conservation. And that's on anything outdoor, every box of ammo, every firearm case, hunting accessories, like anything outdoor or hunting related, it goes to that. There's a 15% tax on it. Plus all the money that is procured from hunting licenses in most states. I'm not going to say all, because I'm sure like Washington State, where I'm at, they have all the money pooled and combined, but different conversation. Most states, the hunting license money goes to animal conservation. That's what that money is used for. So not only do vegans just kind of ignoring the reality of how many animals are killed for their food, but they also don't even start to touch the amount of money given towards conservation that is given from hunters and conservationists.
I don't think being a good person has really anything to do with your diet or what you're putting in your body. I mean, there's good people on both sides of the deal. You don't have to. What I look at as a good person is somebody that does the right thing in their mind. I mean, I know what you're going to say, but the right thing for me and the right thing for you are obviously not the same thing, right? Will you argue that?
I would argue you to answer the question, what's right for the animals?
That's not what I'm talking about right now.
I think that's what's important to discuss, though, because they're the ones that are victims in this situation and the ones that are being used.
What we're talking about is being a good person. There are good people on both sides of the coin. It doesn't matter what you put in your body to get to there. You're a person, you're alive. You can be a person, you can be a great person. It has nothing to do with what you eat.
So if we eat another human being, but everything else we do is completely moral, does it make us a good person if it has nothing to do with what we eat? I mean, the animal didn't want to die, that person didn't want to die. I just personally don't see the difference.
And the main takeaway here is that you do have a choice. You don't have to support this type of violence and cruelty, but yet people do.
Okay.
And I don't consider that good.
That's
and I
fine.
would not consider that being a good
like I said
person.
before, that's your opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion. So am I. And me sitting here, I'm not forcing my opinion on you. I really don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you think about what I do.
Do you consider killing an animal a good thing to do?
If it's needed, yes.
Is it needed for you?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
I would argue that it's not needed for you because you have choices to make,
But
and
you don't know my
continue to make
situation.
the bad choice.
Well,
Which,
you're sitting in the Jubilee studio in Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
So I feel like you probably have access to a grocery store.
So it's better for me to go to the grocery store and buy a hamburger package
No.
that was killed by somebody
No,
God knows
hunting
where.
is better than buying meat from the grocery store, but I choose to not eat either kind of
That's
meat.
fine, and that's your choice.
Right, and it's fine for you to have your opinion and me to have my opinion, but the
100%.
reason that one person feels more passionately about it than the other is because one person's choices has victims and the other one's doesn't.
May I chime in?
Okay, I just can't let that go. That is just complete horseshit. That is not true, and she's living in a delusional land. If you go watch this full video, which I suggest that you do, it'll be linked in the video. Earlier in this, she says that she went to college and has a degree in this. I forget what she said it was, but I think it was a degree in sustainability. One useless degree, but two, she shows how useless someone going to college is, even on this subject, is, because she's just straight up ignoring the fact of how many animals are getting killed for her to be a vegan. It is insane to me.
I'd love to add an angle. So when I was on your side for 6 years I was on your side. So I completely understand where you guys are coming from, where you see this cruelty happening to all of these animals in these factory farms. There are other victims that I could just list right now when I was vegan, because I was having crazy temper tantrums. My mood was this. I could not think straight because I was having so much brain fog. Victims could include my own mom. I would be very impatient with her, my own boyfriend, right? So if I want to be a good person, I would like to prioritize being a good daughter first. I want to prioritize being a good friend, a good girlfriend, a good partner, a good future mom. And for me, again, it just boils down to health. If the food that I'm feeding my body cannot support that goal of just being a clear thinking, healthy, vibrant person on this planet, then I feel like it, for me, justifies eating meat.
How many of you were raised vegan? Of course, you guys weren't. So my next question is, your parents. Do you consider your parents good people?
My
If you had-
parents went vegan as soon as I shared my knowledge with them.
But you consider them good people?
Yeah.
I would consider my parents people that make poor choices in the sense that they continue to support.
But before
these
you
types
even, before your mindset shifted to really caring about the animals, did you still consider them good people?
Yeah, when I thought what they were doing was the right thing, then yes.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are currently vegan, but I think that they were good people before that. And I mean, I was torn on this prompt because I do think when we get to like ranking who's a better person or a worse person, it's just kind of dangerous territory that I don't love, because I think good people can do bad things.
Correct. And so that was what I was wanted to tap on, because the one reason that allows me to really impact many lives is because I've never been that type of individual to punish people for not doing what I do. Exactly. It's never been my thing. But I always like to come at them with a sense of meeting them where they are, because if we say a good person is this, then if you weren't raised that way, you're saying your parents were inherently bad. They were bad because they were eating meat, and then they didn't know about it until later on, because even my parents, my mom was a vegetarian vegan. So if she wasn't, I wouldn't consider her a bad person, because I have plenty of my family who are like that. They see me as this anomaly, like, I don't know how you do it, but you look good. You're definitely getting your protein. But I'm not gonna say, you know what, because you out there are eating and killing animals, I don't like you. But they're family. So I can still make an example and allow them to consider their choices, because that has happened.
Kind of what you said, which is also, I guess, my issue with the prompt kind of zoomed out, is this idea of, comparing each other's morality, because it's like, yes, you may not consume, an animal product, but there are choices that each person makes that does contribute to a larger systemic issue that is inherently immoral. Last time you bought a phone, oh, that was mined for minerals from the Congo. Last time you bought gold jewelry, oh, that's from the genocide in Sudan. And just with our taxes, as regard to Palestine. So there are things that we do that we have to exist in the framework of the system that it is, that we are currently in, that we can all start to measure up morality.
Yeah, I mean, I am against colonialism and I'm against capitalism. This is literally what I got my degree in. And I think there are a lot of changes that everybody could make in their daily life to make them a better person. And I think that some of those changes we can't make right now because the system is oppressing us in a way that disables our free choice. But I just think that if somebody has the same ability to make choices as me and they're choosing to buy a slaughtered animal's corpse, there's nothing good about that. And I fail to see how that doesn't make you a worse person than someone who's not doing that.
I can see myself.
Yeah, so at least this dude here at least had some kind of I disagree with those arguments, but at least he tried. This bitch here, she's insane. Like, she's actually insane. And she's the type of person, I mean, in her own words, you could be on the brink of death before we can talk about you eating a non-vegan diet. In her own words. That's I mean, I have trouble comprehending that. But you saw that, you saw what she said for yourself, so I'll let you make your determination on it. That's just, I mean, utterly mind blowing to me, but here we are. This is the world we live in. Yeah, so, like, share, subscribe to all the stuff you need to. Don't think like her, and have a wonderful day.